The story you are about to hear is not just about one family. It's the story of you, of every citizen in the United States, except perhaps some of the elite few at the very top. The Johnson family, ordinary, hardworking, just like millions of others, living lives full of routines, responsibilities, and small joys. But this morning feels different. The aroma of coffee drifts through the kitchen, the kettle hisses gently, sunlight streams through the window casting long lines across the counter, and the kids scramble for backpacks and lunchboxes, their shoes tapping on the hardwood floor. A flashing news alert freezes their attention. Oil prices just hit a record high, supply chains are stretched thin, and overseas tensions are escalating. Father frowns, tracing a line along the kitchen counter with his finger. Mother picks up her phone again, scrolling past graphs and news images she doesn't fully understand, but each headline presses on her chest like a weight. The children sense it too. The world they had always thought was distant, abstract, is now pressing against the walls of their kitchen, touching their breakfast table. The first sign of change hits them at the gas pump. Dad pulls in, accustomed to the familiar routine. He glances at the numbers flashing on the pump, notices the line of cars behind him, and lets out a quiet sigh. $3.30 per gallon, higher than last month. He rubs his forehead and mutters under his breath, "That's another $15 extra this week." The children fidget in their seats, sensing his worry. "Is gas really that high now?" the daughter asks from the back seat, curiosity and concern mixing in her voice. "Seems like it," he replies, trying to keep his tone light. "Prices go up and down, sweetie, but this one's definitely up." At the grocery store, the pattern repeats. Mother wanders slowly through the aisles, scanning shelves with growing concern. Milk, $4. Bread, $3.50. Eggs, $5 a dozen. Everyday staples, suddenly slightly out of reach. She picks up a box of cereal, studies it carefully, and says gently, "Looks like cereal might be out this week." The son looks up, wide-eyed, learning that even small things can change unexpectedly. Small sacrifices become quiet lessons in patience, adaptability, and foresight. Even the bills don't wait. Electricity jumps to nearly $160 despite the same usage as last month. Dad shakes his head thinking of the larger forces at work: fuel costs, supply chain stress, shifts in energy production. The Johnsons are realizing that things once taken for granted, affordable groceries, predictable bills, everyday comfort, are now part of a swirling economic tide, one that touches every corner of their home life. At work, the ripple continues. Dad sits at his desk, opening a new email from Human Resources. The subject line: Company Budget Update. Inside, due to ongoing market uncertainty and cost pressures, bonuses will be postponed this quarter. He leans back, absorbing the weight of the words. Not a layoff, thank goodness, but close enough to stir anxiety. Project reports, forecasts, and memos about delayed investments surround him, reminders of how deeply global events have infiltrated local lives. Even simple decisions in the office now feel tinged with caution. Businesses brace for uncertainty, and the ripple of global events is visible in spreadsheets, meetings, and budget discussions. At home, Mother tells to Dad, "Kids are asking for supplies we just can't afford right now," she admits at dinner, "and the school budget won't cover extras this year." The tone at the table isn't bleak, just honest. But honesty is heavy. Raises are uncertain, vacations hypothetical, projects delayed. What once felt secure now feels fragile, like sand slipping slowly through their fingers. Global tension isn't just numbers and bills. It seeps into conversations, quiet moments, and the rhythm of everyday life. At night, Dad scrolls social media out of habit. Headlines scream about oil price spikes, distant conflicts, and inflation forecasts. The daughter glances over his shoulder, worry knitting her brows. "Are we okay?" she asks softly. He pauses, meeting her eyes. "We're okay," he says gently, "but sometimes what happens far away can change things here. We just have to be aware and careful." Around the neighborhood, conversations echo the same undertones: rent increases, rising bills, shared unease. Neighbors exchange tips, which local store has a sale on eggs, how to stretch groceries for the week, or which pantry staples can be swapped for cheaper alternatives. Small lessons ripple through everyday life. Back in the Johnson kitchen, life goes on in practical ways. Thursday is taco night, and the family gathers around the counter, chopping vegetables together. Dad dices onions while explaining to his son how planning meals can help save money over time. Mother stirs the taco filling, seasoning carefully, teaching the daughter how a pinch of spices can make simple ingredients taste special. The kids sneak tastes, giggle when some salsa splashes onto the counter, and flour dust floats in the air like little clouds. They talk about their day. Dad mentions a small cost-saving tip he learned from a neighbor. Mother recalls a discount on bread, and the kids share small triumphs from school. While cooking, they're learning to adapt, not by magic, but through small, intentional steps, planning meals, using leftovers creatively, and making family time part of their strategy. Sunday brings homemade pizza day. Dough is rolled, toppings laid out, and the family debates the perfect combination: mushrooms, peppers, cheese. Each child gets a chance to build their own mini pizza, experimenting with flavors. Laughter fills the kitchen when one pizza slides off the pan and they work together to fix it. The conversation naturally shifts to the week ahead: what groceries to buy, which errands can be combined to save gas, and how to balance fun with budgeting. Through these kitchen moments, the Johnsons adapt organically, enjoying meals, teaching children practical lessons about money and resources, and reinforcing family connection even in uncertain times. It's not a sudden transformation, it's the small, everyday routines that give them a sense of stability and control. They create a family budget chart on the fridge, mapping groceries, utilities, savings, and fun. Each member contributes: movie night at home instead of theater, walk in the park instead of shopping. Small choices, shared rituals, and collaborative decisions reclaim a sense of control over their lives. Dad dusts off an old board game. Laughter fills the living room. Mother grins. Who knew Monopoly would return us to happiness? Money lessons become tangible. Savings jars, discussions about wants versus needs, and small achievable goals. Children learn not just about finance, but resilience, foresight, and the power of small, intentional actions. In these routines, they reclaim stability and confidence. Adaptation brings insight. The family begins noticing patterns they had overlooked. Intentional togetherness brings joy. Creativity transforms ordinary moments, and preparedness offers calm in a turbulent world. Mother shares at a community potluck: when times feel uncertain, we tend to get closer, not distant. Neighbors exchange tips, coupons, skills, and encouragement. Community becomes a quiet anchor, a network of support that balances out uncertainty. Dad reads financial articles, not anxiously, but with curiosity. He explains inflation, interest rates, and basic investing to his children. The daughter asks thoughtful questions. The son dreams aloud about starting a small business. Knowledge brings confidence. Adaptation brings control. Uncertainty still exists, but it no longer feels unstoppable. The Johnson story is millions of stories. Families navigating a changing world, finding stability and hope in small, intentional steps. Here's the takeaway: even when the world seems unpredictable, you can find control in daily choices. Plan meals, track spending, teach resilience, create moments of connection, and involve your children in solutions. If this story gave you insight, subscribe for more real-life stories and tips to navigate uncertainty. Comment below. What small step will you take this week to strengthen your home's resilience? Share this with someone who could use guidance today. The world may be unpredictable, but your home can remain a place of stability, hope, and love. That's a story worth living and sharing.